Y'all, why do people hurt children? I will never understand this. This story is another example of how the family court system failed a child. This so-called father right here, pictured on the right, is holding his daughter, and he is facing a murder charge for allegedly killing her. This was during a custody dispute with the child's mother. On Tuesday, May 28th at around 9:42 a.m., police officers received a call about a child that was injured at a home. When officers arrived, they found a child bleeding profusely from the neck. First responders immediately gave aid to the child before they transported her to a local hospital where she was pronounced deceased. Officers arrested this man, who is the child's father, and his name is Geronimo Duran, and they booked him into the Broward County Jail. He's being held on charges of murder in the first degree and aggravated child abuse, and additional charges could be coming. According to the arrest report, Geronimo picked up his daughter, whose name was Melody Alana Rose Duran. He picked her up at his ex-girlfriend's house, who is the little girl's mom, and he carried her back to his house. He lives at his house with his grandmother. This was just before 7:30 a.m. that day. Geronimo's grandmother got home that day at around 9:30 a.m. and allegedly she saw Geronimo laying on top of his daughter. The grandmother asked what he was doing and told him to get off of her. When he moved, the grandmother saw that the child was blue in color and discolored. The grandmother went to another room and she contacted her daughter, and her daughter told her to call the police. When she went back to the kitchen, she saw Geronimo kneeling over Melody, who was bleeding. The grandmother then ran into her room as Geronimo stayed in the kitchen and stayed silent. This is a picture of Geronimo and his ex-girlfriend and the little girl. And as I said, his ex-girlfriend is also the little girl's mother. So Geronimo's stepfather ended up doing CPR on the child until the authorities got there. The police department received the call at 9:43 a.m. from a Spanish-speaking woman who said the child looked yellow and it was not known if she was bleeding. Dispatchers said they heard screaming in the background. Officers arrived at 9:47 a.m. and at 9:50 a.m. they alerted paramedics that the little girl's throat had been slit. Detectives who went to the hospital saw a large laceration that began on the girl's left side of her neck and went to the right. They figured out the cut was made with a sharp-edged cutting instrument. Geronimo reportedly had blood all over his body. He ended up telling detectives that he suffers from mental illness and had been committed to a mental facility through the Baker Act in the past. He also said that he had quit taking his antidepressant and had started smoking marijuana, and he did that on the day that he killed her. He then admitted to choking Melody until she became unconscious. He then admitted that when his grandmother got home and went to her room, like I mentioned earlier, he removed a kitchen knife from a butcher block and cut his daughter. Detectives said there was a bloody steak knife on the floor. The arrest report said that Geronimo repeatedly said that he effed up and ruined his family. Now, this is where it's really screwed up. The little girl and her mother moved out of his home in March of 2023 due to him being aggressive, dangerous, erratic, and violent. He and his ex were in the middle of a custody dispute, but a parenting plan allowed him to have unsupervised custody of the girl. Mom specifically told a judge at a previous court hearing that Geronimo was hearing voices telling him to end his life, and sometimes it was with just him and his daughter that he would hear those voices. She said she had to commit him using the Baker Act 5 times. This is absolutely unacceptable to me. Judges need to start hearing people and taking things seriously, especially when it comes to a parent with mental illness. This could have been prevented. My heart and prayers go out to the little girl's family and friends.